E3 launched in 1995. The show started out as a forum for game developers to really exhibit their upcoming titles to the industry. But quickly it turned into a showcase of smoke and mirrors and latex and partially covered breasts. Now, with today's announcements, it seems like it could actually be reduced to a conference room at a Ramada Inn with a PowerPoint presentation. Is this really the case, though? Does that ruin your favorite video games? We're giving you the breaking news on the death of E3 today, folks, in The Loop. Joining us via satellite to help us make sense of all the E3 madness from the G4 studios, the gentlest man I know, Adam Sessler. Soft hands. From San Francisco, editor-in-chief for Electronic Gaming Monthly, Dan Hsu, and also from Los Angeles, Per Schneider, vice president of editorial content for IGN.com. Gentlemen, welcome to The Loop. Adam, I saw you pouring a 40 at your cube this morning.
Yes.
Is that in honor of the death now of E3? Is E3 dead as we know it?
As we know it, yeah, you can stick a fork in it. It almost had to happen. There have been rumblings about this for about 3 years, and I think the thing is because they've been rumbling for 3 years, no one took it seriously, and boom, it happened. I mean, I've just been reading like some of the figures of what these companies actually had to pay out to be at E3. The floor space alone for the big guys was like $12 million, and all of them are going through this massive transition where they're losing money because the research and development on the new consoles, and $50 million of marketing should probably go into television advertising for them rather than this big smoke and mirrors, as you put it, there at the trade show. But I think what's going to come out of it may actually be better.
All right, well, so Dan, Adam's saying the writing's been on the wall for a while. I heard that it was pretty much EA and Sony that have said, look, we don't really care to support this thing anymore. Does that echo the sentiments of other companies, or were they the reason for this push? Do you have any info on that?
Well, we heard a lot of rumblings from EA over the past few years about pulling out, and it's not really a matter of they're unhappy with the show. It's just it's like what Adam said. It's if they could spend the money more wisely somewhere else, Because I mean, really, you can meet the same people elsewhere. EA can create their own event and have everyone come in and check out the games. I think the only people this might really affect is the ESA itself, which makes a lot of money from the show, and also the raw tonnage of sweaty fanboy nerds that you have to fight with.
Right.
Yes, I'm not missing that.
No, speaking about the sweaty fanboy nerds, Per, what does this mean for those guys? What does it mean for every kid with the GeoCities / Gamers Extreme Zone web account who wants to show up and check out the games? Are they still going to get the new games, the cool announcements, the exclusive trailers?
Hold on a second. I think I'm crying, man.
Is that a tear of joy?
In your eye?
E3 is dead, really? Can it be true? This is amazing. Honestly, the event just got away from everybody. It was cool in the beginning, then it got so huge, and it turned into this Disneyland with a barbed wire around it, where really the gamers were supposed to get in it, but they couldn't. And then the gamers took everything into their own hands, and they registered GeoCities addresses and made websites and magazines and went in. They let in some TV people as well, I think.
But now, Adam, what about the rest of the fans? What about the people who aren't lying, about to get into the show? They just want to read the coverage. They want the big announcements. They want this one tentpole event to look forward, to every year. Are they affected by this?
No, I don't think so. And I think in the long run, they'll start to realize there may be a big benefit from this. There is an artificial date that's set for E3, and then all these developers have to race to try to get something that's showable ready by that time. And I think that's had a major impact on why we get a glut of games at the end of the year, and then like the summer that we have right now, where there's nothing, and I end up having to play Chrome Hounds, which is a miserable thing to have to go through.
That's exactly right. And the problem was that a lot of the titles we got to see were just visuals. It wasn't that the gameplay was refined in any way. You're looking at this demo, oftentimes not playable, and that's not the game you're going to play at the end of the year.
I mean, really, if you think about it, Sony, I bet they say themselves after their dismal performance at this year's E3, I bet they're saying, wow, what if we waited 3 months, we had the hardware a little bit more shored up, and we had the developers a little bit more in tune with what they were going to be doing with the games, and we owned our own messaging because it was our own event, they might not be in the situation that they're in right now.
Dan, do you agree with that? Do you think developers are happy?
I think E3 is a little bit too early for most people. Developers have this artificial deadline, and what we see isn't necessarily representative of what we're going to play in the end. And a lot of times, we go into E3, we see some crappy little demo, and we're like, oh, you know what, this game sucks. We kind of dismiss it and find out later, hey, it's actually pretty good. And the same thing in reverse happens. So, it's not a bad thing to see this downplayed a little bit more focused. Just they're going to invite just this, specific invited guests, such as some media buyers, media people, retailers, and so on.
But
so
no more sweaty breasts and light and pounding Euro techno music, though. And that, to me, is really, that was the essence that was E3. Now, Parrot,
Right,
is this like Hollywood canceling the Oscars, though? Is that to this level? Because people online, a lot of gamers are freaking out. They're saying that this is the end of the industry, clearly.
I think for the consumer, it is definitely a big shock. This was the one big gaming event that really, everybody went to LA for this 1 week, and everybody suffered and everybody partied, too. And for it to be gone is weird. I don't think you can ever get that same level of excitement that you got when all these games are announced at the same time.
That's true.
But it's not really a consumer event, though.
Right, right.
It's really it's meant more for retailers, for the press.
But the
Like,
consumers can still get
still
excited about the event, and I think that's an interesting point. And Adam, how do you feel about the calendar of announcements for the rest of the year? Because it seemed that everybody could look forward to one big event with a ton of new secrets, unveilings, announcements, etc. Has the calendar been shaking up? Are these going to be peppered throughout the year now?
I think so, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I don't like everything happening at one time because you really can't figure out you can't tell the forest from the trees when that happens. And there's really good games that might not be as high profile that get lost in all the pomp and circumstance from the major players.
Absolutely.
And now it can be parceled out throughout the year. So maybe next year we'll have something to talk about during the summer rather than me having to play Chrome Hound.
Well, that was the big thing, that the companies actually came to visit us before E3, and they showed us all these games, and some of them really, really not in any way showable. And then we had to wait on the news. We had to sit there the whole month of April. Our traffic goes down the tubes, and it's pretty bad. And then May, we got this giant spike that costs everybody a lot of money. So,
all right, well, we'll see how it all plays out over the rest of the year. Of course, TGS coming up in September now, and we're going to have the most comprehensive coverage around. So all eyes are now on the Tokyo Game Show, I believe. Thanks to our guests Adam, Dan, and John for joining us at the Digital Water Cooler and keeping us in the loop.